gateway, that's Peter now, where another person, another servant girl saw him and said to the people that this fellow was with Jesus of Nazareth. He said he denied it again with an oath. He said, if I know him, let thunder fire me. 73. After a little while, those standing there went up to Peter and said, surely you are one of them. Your accent gives you away. Some other versions say your speech. So it wasn't just the accent of a Galilean. It was the way he spoke. 74. Then he began to call down curses. He said, okay, if now because of the way they speak, I do they speak gentleman, Abi? Because he knew this was a battle of life. He didn't want to die. He said, God, go kill all of them. This one, he began to speak ruggedly. He called down curses. God of thunder, God of fire, he spoke. You know, he was a fisherman before. And there are some professions. You know, if you are in that profession, there's a way people speak. Maybe you know some of them. Let's not call them. But there are some professions that it's rugged. As in, they are vulgar, the way they speak. So when a Christian goes into that place, we expect that you should be different. Peter was a fisherman. They spoke raw language, but he had come to be with Jesus, and he had changed. And these guys began to see that this one was different. The Bible says he began to curse. He cursed. He said, anybody who talks, say, I know this man, make thunder fire him. He swore to them. He said, I don't know the man. Bible says immediately a rooster crowed. You know, Jesus had already told him before that you will deny me 3 times. He said, never, it cannot happen. So now this happened. So Peter tried to deny Jesus. But the impact of Jesus on his life was even too great that everybody that saw him, as soon as they saw Peter, you know, there's something spirit to spirit. Their spirit just knew there was something about this man. They said, this guy has been with Jesus. He tried to hide, but he cannot hide. And when you have had contact with Jesus, even when you try to hide yourself, you cannot. They will fish you out. If you are comfortable in the wrong crowd, it means you have not had impact with Jesus enough. It means you have not swallowed him. You have not taken of him. Even if you find yourself in a wrong crowd by mistake, you will not be comfortable. That's why the Bible says, he that knows him, or he that is in life, he does not continue in sin. You will not feel, your spirit will torment you. And Peter was swearing heaven and earth. You know, God's expectation is that Christians begin to live like Christ. Every one of us, everywhere. Peter swore and swore and swore. He cursed. But they knew that this guy belongs to Jesus. You cannot come to Christ and your lifestyle remains the same. You see, we are in a generation now, like they say, the line is becoming thinner. You cannot separate how do they say? The church is becoming worldly and the world is becoming churchy. Not be so. They play gospel music for club. They dance like people of the world for church. So you almost cannot distinguish. But Bible says God knows those who are his. So it doesn't matter how you try to camouflage. It does not matter. He knows those who are his. And even those who serve God, they know whether they are his or not. Because deep down within you, you know, it doesn't matter what people think of you. People may think highly, they may praise you, they may say nice things about you. But you know who knows you more? It's you. Because deep down in your secret place, you know whether you are serving God or not. You know whether you are meeting the standards he requires of you or not. You know whether you are a deceiver or not. You know whether you are a hypocrite or not. You know whether you just come to church on Sunday and speak in tongues and disturb us, and then you go home and you are a devil. You know. So if you are a Christian, it must change. It must affect your lifestyle. It must affect your speech. You cannot still be talking the same way. You cannot. You know, even though now we try to make it look like, you cannot. It's just not possible. How can you come in contact with Christ and then you don't have a change of lifestyle? He didn't just come into your heart for you to just say the sinner's prayers as we do these days. The person is even chewing gum, looking at the shoe of the preacher. Lord Jesus, I come into my life, save me. Now this church fine. Oh. These are the breed of Christians you are producing. No change of lifestyle. That change of lifestyle is key. These days, they've taken it a notch ahead. Speech, even dressing, decency, dead and gone. Who are the worst promoters of indecent dressing? Christians, in quotes. I said in quote because a lot of people think Christian is just because you have a Christian name. Those believers, when they started being called Christian, it wasn't because their name was John or Peter or Timothy. No. It was because their character conformed with the image of Christ. People looked at them and they began to say, the way this person is behaving, something has changed about him. So something must change about your life when you come to Christ. Lifestyle, dressing. We have people who are indecent now. Like exposing everything exposable. Everything exposable. You are pushing the limits. See, don't make the mistake and go for some parties. That's why personally I don't like parties, so that my spirit will not be grieved. So I avoid it as much as possible. Because your eye must see evil. You are minding your business. Somebody is going to walk in like a signboard, almost nude. Somebody that left a house. Somebody that has children. Somebody that has a mother. Somebody that is supposed to have sense. And then somebody that claims to be a Christian. How embarrassing. So we need to begin to let the that we say we know to begin to reflect in our lives. So like I said, by just looking at Peter, spirit to spirit, there's a way this thing connects. We don't need to, it's not even just your face. There's something about perception. When somebody begins to interact with you, they know if you are genuine or not. So 2 Corinthians 5:20, let's go there. It says we are ambassadors for Christ. So who is an ambassador? I'll give you two definitions. First, an ambassador is a high-ranking representative of a country or organization appointed to act on his behalf. So you can have an ambassador of Nigeria to another country, ambassador of another country to Nigeria. So they represent the interests of that country with the other country. So as they relate with them, anything that this country needs to convey to the other country is done through the ambassador. And they give the ambassador full compliments. The embassy of that nation, let me give you an instance. The embassy of Nigeria, for instance, in US, is treated like Nigerian ground. You understand? So that embassy is like Nigeria, the country, in another country. So they give them that regard. There was something that happened years ago in Nigeria where people were protesting. And the security forces had waited for them. They wanted to arrest them. So they went to the American embassy, right? And they were outside protesting, saying all sorts of things. Now the Nigerian soldiers and policemen, they were there. They were standing respectfully. They did not cross into that embassy, the ground. They were just outside. Because if you step into that place by international law, it's an affront on the other nation. So you are entering another country's territory. So they could not arrest them. Those people were there, did their protest, did everything. Right there on American soil, in quotes. So that's how powerful an embassy is and the office of an ambassador. So that's one. An ambassador can also be, in terms of brand ambassador, somebody who promotes or supports a product or advocates for a particular cause or brand. So you can be an ambassador for a particular phone. Let me use a phone, for instance. If you're an ambassador for a particular phone, it means that you are representing the interests of that phone. So let's dwell on brand ambassador. So if you are a Christian here, it means you are a brand ambassador. So what is your product? Your product is what? Christ. Okay? Or your product is Christianity. But the brand you are representing, the image you are representing is Christ. So let's look at these things in context. If you are representing that country, it means that there are certain things or that brand. Have you heard where a brand ambassador had issues, maybe a scandal, and then the company that they were representing canceled the contract? Have you heard of it before? Because whatever you do might affect the image of that organization or that brand and might affect their sales. So nobody wants to be associated with scandal. When they just see your phone and just, oh, wow, this one will they carry another person's wife. They'll just say that. Now, it wasn't the company that did it. Because the ambassador's face, the brand ambassador is on every flyer and everything. They tend to associate that person with scandal and that organization with scandal. So in the same way, we are Christ's ambassadors. So directly or indirectly, whatever you do is pointing to Christ. That's why people will now say, that's what they do for their church. All those kind of things. Or after they will say they are Christians. So what one person has done now, they have now used it to rubbish everybody. But it's not supposed to be like that. All right. So I want to encourage every one of us here. Just the same way that every artist or everybody who is signed as a brand ambassador needs to be careful with their lives and needs to fix things that could be scandalous. I want us also as Christians to begin to take note of those things. There are things that you do as a Christian that can just be like you are playing with fire. You know that this thing is wrong and you are playing with fire. You are going small. You are going small. And, God is trying to warn you. He has tried to warn you in several ways. The devil is just luring you away gradually. You need to correct it. You need to come back to God. You need to fix it. Have you watched those movies where they'll call somebody from the house and you start going, Okoro, come. They'll be calling his spirit. Okoro, come. Then Okoro will just stand up and start walking. Okoro will start walking to the river. People will be talking to him. He will not answer. Okoro, come. Till Okoro will enter water. That is how some people are living their lives now. They are calling your spirit. Devil is calling your spirit. They tell you, they hear what?